this week is that y'all are 9-2 when Dak rushes 5 or more times in a game. What's your reaction to that, or does that mean anything to you?
Well, he impacts the game positively when he uses his legs, and that's probably pretty common if you've got a mobile quarterback like we do. Some games present themselves that way. Was a little more inclined to do it last week because they were giving it to us the week before. They were not going to let Dak run, so on the zone read game or that stuff. So yeah, each week's going to be different. He certainly can impact the game positively though with his legs.
He said he knows when to take people on and when to get down. Do you trust that judgment? Or there's sometimes
Oh yeah, yeah, and he was. We're all fighting for a win last week, and so there were some times where maybe not, but I got it. We all knew what we had to do to get that first win of the season. So there's times when he'll find that sideline or he'll find a crease and get down, and we certainly are cognizant of that and coach it. But sometimes he's trying to show his leadership and his heart too. So it's a fine line, but football's that kind of game, and if you're using your quarterback in the run game, sometimes he's going to get hit a time or two, but hopefully not that much.
David mentioned statistics, and the one that we've also been harping on is the 200-yard thing that Dak and the Cowboys have struggled to hit the last 7, 8, 9, 10 games. Scott, is passing for 200 yards as big of a deal as maybe we tend to be making it out to be?
In some games it is, some games it's not. It depends how the game is. If you're possessing the ball and controlling the game, and the score is what the score is, sometimes it's not as big a thing. Sometimes you got to get into those games where you got to get explosive plays, and they a lot of times come from the passing game. So those yards do factor in. But I think each game has its own personality, and as we look and move forward, we want to have more production of our passing game. Doesn't mean we're throwing it more, or you add 2 or 3 more big plays and you throw it the same amount of time or maybe a few more times, you're going to have bigger games and bigger numbers.
When you look at statistics with Dak, is there a specific stat you say he has to hit this in order for me to say he's successful?
No, I mean I guess the when we look at his quarterback rating, we rate him or grade him differently. But when he plays well, that number's a good number, I think. So when you look at that, quarterbacks that rate well in the league are usually coming up with W's, and but it's really more about doing the winning football things, having production in the passing game, not having the negative plays and the turnovers. Those are obviously things that play for you or against you as a quarterback. So, but at the end of the day, we're looking for that W next to his name. So,
how does your own defense impact the way maybe you call a game? Obviously, right now it seems like you guys have maybe the best defense since you've been the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. Does that have any impact on the way you're calling a game?
Well, to be honest with you, we don't really think about that so much. But when you're looking up there and they're not putting points on the board, our defense has been dominant, and you don't get conservative or anything. You just are being smart. And I think last week we were much more, balanced, staying ahead of the chain, so to speak, being able to have a really good run-pass ratio on downs that are hard for the defense, normal down distance and things like that. And so to me, when you're executing ball plays and not necessarily having to convert 15 third downs at a drive, you're converting first and second downs and possessing the ball and then putting enough points on the board at the end of the day. I think that's a good formula, especially when the defense is doing what they're doing. So they've been great. They're playing awesome, and we've got to play as a group, offense, defense, and special teams. We all got to do our part.
Scott, how much do you change the idea going into the game when you're going into an environment like Seattle, with how loud it's the loudest stadium in the NFL? Do you make many adjustments to how you prepare for that, or?
Well, what I found is it's loud on the road in the NFL, and you practice for it. We practice for it more than anywhere I've been. I think I've said that before. We use noise. You guys probably hear it today. It was loud, and so you have to work on the communication, both verbally and non-verbally. It's more challenging that way, but if you practice it all the time, we practice it in training camp in Oxnard. When we're doing against each other, we're working that noise so that if you find some situation that comes up where there's a communication that has to be made and someone doesn't hear, you got to sit there and say, are we loud enough to the right as we are to the left? Are we, this certain situation, do you use a quarterback's cadence or the silent cadence? And we have so much time on task there, and I think it helps us.
Obviously, what you're doing first two downs dictates a lot on third down, but overall, how would you assess how you guys have been on third down this year?
Well, we were better than our numbers last week. We weren't very good in the first game. We had 2 third downs called back. 1 third down put us in a real short, manageable fourth down situation, so we feel like that's a successful third down play. We take those two third downs back. We're in the 40s and we're in a good position, so we're close to it. So there's improvement being made there. I think our first game was attributed to, I bet there were 8 or 9 that were 3rd and 12 or 13 or more. You're not going to be very good if you do that. So hopefully as we move forward this year, the manageable third downs will help our third down production.
How important is it to know where Earl Thomas is on the field? How much respect do you have for him when you study him on film?
Great respect. He's one of the best in the league. Football players, not just safeties. Very instinctive guy. There's guys that have been in this league that just kind of seem like they're everywhere. He's one of those guys that studies tendencies, plays the formation, plays the situation very, very good. So we've got to be cognizant of him, but everybody. They got a really good defense and they're well coached. So we've got to go out and execute. They make you execute, and that's going to be a big factor in the game.
Earl obviously didn't go in their training camp, but he comes back and it looks like he's his old self. What have you noticed from him on these first 2 games? Does he look like typical old Earl Thomas?
Yeah, the first thing I put on the Denver game to just watch it, and we got got ready for this game, and I wasn't watching it for very long. He already had an interception, and like he does, and he just seems like he's everywhere. But that's what we expect. We got to contend with these elite type players in this league every week, seems like, and we've played a number of games against him. For me, all the way back, even before I was here, but he's one of the best football players in this league, and it's going to be a fun challenge to go against him.
Is Chris Richard a resource for you at all this week, just given how familiar he is with what they do?
Yeah, we spend some time together. He's got a great grasp of what they're doing on defense and their personnel and kind of how they look at us. He's been there for that whole time since I've been here and we've played them. So yeah, he's been great, and he's a really bright guy and has a great recall and memory to really take me through every play of the games that we've played in the past. So yeah, he's been big. We've spent a lot of time this week.
So what's Paul Alexander been like working with him on a day-to-day?
Paul's great. He's an extremely intelligent guy, very innovative. He's got a style. He's not afraid to try new and different things. Has a really good background, playing and coaching against a lot of these defenses, and so having that experience is huge, and being able to make an adjustment right there in game and be able to say, hey, the best thing we can do here is let's run this play. They get in this. Let's just get to this audible, those kind of things, and that's very valuable. He's a great guy, very fun to work with, and he's a hard worker, and it's going to be fun as we move forward.
The touchdown pass on the first drive for you guys and Tavon. Did you know all week that there's going to be a good chance that play would work right away, or is it one of those things where once the game comes, you just don't know really? Depends.
Well, I mean, you got to get the right look, but we felt strong about it. That's why we put it in our openers. But it was all about execution. Execute the situation, getting in the earn first down early in the drive. Tendency is going to be to run it again and to be able to have a aggressive mindset and approach it. Have good protection, and quarterback take a nice drop and have good eye discipline, and ultimately win at the line of scrimmage against man coverage and make a great throw and catch and finish the play. So it's funny when you execute, that gets a lot of energy going, especially on offense. We talk about it. We don't just try to create energy. We got to make it by executing football plays.
Last one, guys.
Tavon only had one more target, I think, the rest of the game. Did Dak try to look for him, and it just wasn't there?
No, I think he's in the progression on some plays. He's not playing every play either. You know, we're playing a lot of guys, so you throw the ball 25 times. I think we had every receiver we had a catch. So, you know, it was kind of a group of guys made the plays. You know, I think there'll be days where he or somebody else has more targets than that. That's just the way that particular game went.